China is producing J-20 stealth fighters faster than it can train pilots to fly them. By 2027, Beijing wants 400 ready-to-control Taiwan skies. Its aviators log barely half the annual flight hours of American F-22 crews, and only an estimated 30% are combat-ready. The question isn't whether China can build the plane, it's whether it can build the pilot fast enough. In March 2017, China's J-20 stealth fighter entered frontline service. What began as a handful of jets at a single base soon accelerated into a nationwide rollout. By September 2022, the J-20 had reached all 5 theater commands, from the western deserts to the coastlines facing Taiwan and Japan. The pace was relentless. Each year, new squadrons stood up, new pilots stepped into cockpits, and new airfields received hardened shelters for the expanding fleet. Nowhere is this transformation more visible than at Wuhu Air Base, home to the Wanghai Air Group. This unit stands at the tip of the spear, tasked with the most demanding missions, and often the first to test new tactics over the Taiwan Strait. The Wanghai pilots are hand-picked, their readiness rates and operational tempo setting the benchmark for the entire force. Yet as the jets multiply, a new tension shadows every sortie: the challenge of fielding enough skilled crews to match the hardware. The speed of J-20 production has outpaced the pipeline that produces combat-ready pilots, raising the stakes for every mission and every training hour. The question now is not how many jets China can build, but whether it can fill those cockpits with pilots ready for the realities of a Taiwan crisis. A J-20 pilot will spend between 100 and 150 hours in the cockpit each year. That figure, drawn from International Institute for Strategic Studies data, sits in stark contrast to the average United States F-22 pilot, who logs about 250 hours annually according to the Heritage Foundation. The difference is not subtle. Week by week, Chinese crews fall behind by nearly 5 hours of live flight time, hours that build habits, sharpen instincts, and prepare a pilot for the unpredictable. This deficit is not an abstract gap. It means fewer chances to rehearse high-G maneuvers, less time to master the J-20 sensor fusion, and fewer live encounters with the unexpected. Maintenance cycles, seasonal stand-downs, and alert postures further limit time in the air, leaving the average Chinese pilot with roughly 30 to 40% less experience than their American counterparts. For a force tasked with controlling the skies over the Taiwan Strait, every missing hour in the cockpit becomes a liability that no amount of hardware can erase. The path from cadet to combat-ready J-20 pilot is a marathon measured in years, not months. After 4 years at the Air Force Aviation Academy, only a select few are chosen for the 5th-generation track. These candidates then face a demanding 12-month conversion at the squadron level, where every hour is scrutinized by senior training officers. The process is relentless. Simulator sessions that stretch into the night, live flights under the eyes of anonymous evaluators, and classroom drills that cover everything from electronic warfare to networked command. The pipeline, once compressed by reforms in 2011, now averages nearly 5 years from academy entrance to full operational certification. Training cadre described the transformation as a gauntlet that weeds out all but the most adaptable. The curriculum is no longer just about flying. It demands mastery of tactics, sensor fusion, and the dual role of pilot and battlefield commander. Lieutenant Colonel Yang Juncheng, a leading voice in doctrine, insists that every new graduate must be prepared to lead as well as fight. The institutional load is heavy, and the duration lingers. Each new J-20 pilot represents half a decade of investment and relentless scrutiny. Lieutenant Colonel Yang Juncheng stands at the center of a new reality for Chinese fighter pilots. In a 2024 interview, Yang declared that the J-20 is not just a weapons platform, but an airborne command node. Every pilot in the cockpit must now absorb a flood of information, merging live sensor feeds, data link transmissions from ground-based radars, and real-time updates from airborne early warning aircraft. The J-20's upgraded avionics and sensor fusion suite transform a single pilot's workload into something closer to that of a battlefield commander. Yang described the task as fighting and commanding at the same time, a cognitive load that far exceeds the demands placed on previous generations. During operational patrols over the Taiwan Strait, Yang recounted moments when his helmet display filled with targeting data, electronic warfare alerts, and tactical instructions, while keeping visual contact with the distant coastline of Taiwan. The J-20's data link network, capable of integrating information from multiple sources, places unprecedented responsibility on the pilot. This doctrine shift is not theoretical. Each patrol demands split-second decisions, with Yang and his peers expected to orchestrate formations, relay strike orders, and adapt to shifting threats at supersonic speeds. The pressure is relentless, and it's this elevated role that drives the evolution of both training and technology throughout the force. A scramble order can hit Wanghai Air Group at any hour, day or night. Within 45 seconds, pilots rush from ready rooms to cockpits, their routine drilled to the edge of muscle memory. Each week, the unit launches between 8 and 10 live patrols across the Taiwan Strait, a tempo unmatched anywhere else in the PLAAF. These aren't training sorties. Every launch is a live alert, flown with live weapons and real-time intelligence updates. Crews trace a U-shaped corridor over the East China Sea, skimming past the Dongsha Islands and looping back along the median line that divides China from Taiwan. Each patrol lasts 2 to 3 hours, combining high-altitude overflight with low-level runs designed to test the limits of both stealth and stamina. The mix of missions is relentless. Quick reaction intercepts, electronic warfare rehearsals, networked command drills, all layered atop a constant readiness posture. For the pilots, the pressure is unyielding. Every sortie is a test of split-second judgment, and every minute in the air is a reminder that the next launch could be for real. In this crucible, Wanghai crews set the operational pace for the entire J-20 force, turning doctrine into daily action. The arrival of the J-20S, China's two-seat stealth fighter, signals a new chapter for the People's Liberation Army Air Force. First revealed in June 2023 and expected to enter full service by 2025, the J-20S adds a mission systems operator behind the pilot, a second set of eyes and hands to handle electronic warfare, sensor fusion, and coordination with unmanned drones. This is not simply an upgrade in hardware, but a response to the crushing workload placed on a single pilot acting as both fighter and command node. The J-20S's rear seat is wired to manage the blizzard of data pouring in from radars, satellites, and networked aircraft, freeing the pilot to focus on flying and fighting. The aircraft's expanded mission set includes electronic attack, real-time battle management, and directing loyal wingman drones, pushing the limits of what a Chinese fighter crew can achieve in contested airspace. With the J-20S, the PLAAF is betting that a two-person crew can better keep pace with the rising demands of modern air combat over the Taiwan Strait, closing the gap between doctrine and the realities of the cockpit. This adaptation underscores the crucial urgency of matching technological advances with the human capacity to use them, as the tempo of operations and the complexity of missions continue to climb. China's drive to close the pilot experience gap has reached beyond its own borders. Since 2023, the People's Liberation Army Air Force has quietly brought foreign-trained instructors into its J-20 program. Western veterans drawn from the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, and Europe have been hired under confidential contracts, their expertise folded into simulator sessions and live training blocks at bases like Wuhu and Luoyang. Estimates put the number of these embedded instructors at around 150, but the true figure remains a closely guarded secret. Their presence signals a tacit admission. Advanced jets alone cannot compensate for a lack of real-world combat experience. Even as these outside experts work alongside Chinese trainers, the pilot gap persists, shaped by strict training calendars and the sheer pace of fleet expansion. Every J-20 squadron faces a clock that no amount of ambition can outrun. After every 30 hours in the air, each jet is grounded for a full 30-day maintenance block, its stealth skin and composite surfaces checked and repaired in sealed hangars. Twice a year, the entire force stands down. January and February for deep winter overhauls, July and August for summer corrosion control and system upgrades. These seasonal pauses are not optional. They carve out weeks at a time, erasing opportunities for pilots to fly, rehearse, and build instinct. The result is a hidden throttle on experience, a structural drag that keeps annual flight hours stubbornly low, no matter how many jets roll off the line. In May 2024, Joint Sword 2024A put 12 J-20s through a rehearsal of Day 1 operations over the East China Sea, testing the force's ability to synchronize air dominance with missile and naval units. Yet behind the spectacle, a sharper dilemma looms. China aims for 400 J-20s by 2027 and 1,000 by 2035, but with only 50 new pilots graduating each year, the pilot-to-jet ratio hovers at 0.8. Less than a third of the fleet is combat-ready. The numbers climb, but the cockpit gap widens. As Beijing builds for the next crisis, the question remains: how many of these jets will actually have a mission-ready crew on the day it matters most? Right now, China's J-20 pilots face a 5-year crucible, outnumbered by jets, outpaced in flight hours, and tasked as both fighters and battlefield commanders. As Lieutenant Colonel Yang Juncheng warns, every sortie over the strait sharpens the stakes. The race isn't just for airframes, it's for readiness itself.